Okay, let's get cracking on this subject of remunerating your technicians. How do you do it effectively? What are the keys? What are the things that you should be taking into consideration? Now, I always suggest before we even start thinking about what dollars we need to come up with to be able to reward and incentivize our team with, that we actually have a look at what your team is doing for you right now. And I can tell you, if your team is not at above 80% productivity and your individual techs are not there either with their individual results, you can turn off this YouTube training because you don't actually need to watch any further. What you need to do is go and look for my YouTube training on feedback forums, and you need to go and implement those because you need to be having discussions with your technicians around what is preventing them from getting to 80% and beyond with their productivity. So if your techs, or one or two of them in particular, are productive, they are hitting the number that you want, the first question that I want to ask you is, have you checked via a conversation in a feedback forum or something like that, that more money is actually what is going to incentivize your technician to perform better? Or is it the type of reward that they would like for the amazing work that they're doing for you? If you haven't had that conversation, you could go and put the world's best pay plan together, but if it doesn't float their boat, it's useless. Okay, so number one, you must have a conversation with your individual techs, not as a collective, because as you know, each human that is working inside of your business has a different set of needs and has a different set of goals. So one of your guys might be looking to save for their first home, and extra money, of course, is going to help them do that. But another one of your techs might already have a home, have a family, and he actually wants time off as his reward. So you've got to be sure on those things first of all. So if we've ticked off that you're productive, your team members are productive, we've ticked off that you know that it's money that will drive them, then sure, let's have a conversation about how to remunerate them. I will at the end come around and suggest to you how you can offer extra to your team if money isn't driving them. So make sure you hang in there till the end. Now, there are three components to incentivizing a technician, and they are with their productivity result, with their efficiency result, and with the effective labor rate result. So I know that if you're using great software, something like Mechanic Desk, that you'll be able to easily produce your productivity reports and your efficiency reports, okay? So, productivity obviously being the amount of hours that we sell, the efficiency is how we do the job for time as opposed to what it should be done in. With the effective labour rate, however, you're going to have to work that one out manually. And if you're wondering what your effective labour rate is, it's the rate that you actually achieve in comparison to your advertised labour rate. So if you're advertising your labour at $100 an hour, or your charge out rate at $100 an hour, and you wipe hours off on any day, that immediately drops the actual amount of money you're getting for labour per hour. So if it's any greater than 10 to 15% of your advertised rate, then that makes you fall below the benchmark. So if you're advertising at $100 an hour and you're actually achieving 65, that's because hours are being written off. And that is obviously what we want our techs to focus on, that they sell as many minutes and hours as possible. So you need to set targets for those three things for each team member. And you may also wish to do it collectively for the team. The next thing that you need to work out is the amount of money that you're prepared to pay. And this is an exercise in reverse engineering. So it's difficult to go into in a 10-minute training, but the basic idea is that you budget for this bonus scheme. So you need to have a look and see how many thousands of dollars are you prepared to put in a pool of money for a year that is available on a monthly basis to your techs if they hit their targets. So you might decide you've got $10,000 available for this, for the entire pool for all technicians, and you divide that by 12 to make it a monthly amount. And you might make it so that $300 is available per technician per month for them to achieve. And these are just examples. And you may break it down so that $100 is available for each of those three metrics: productivity, efficiency, and effective labour rate. So you may make it so they can achieve one of three or two of three or all three, or you may make that $300 available only if they achieve all three. The important thing here is that you must budget for this. Don't do it ad hoc. Implement it with the money available. You may open a separate bank account and put that money in there so that you're not dipping into it to pay your taxes or team wages or whatever. If you're going to implement a system like this, then you have to be good with tracking your numbers. If you're not good at numbers tracking, do not even bother considering bonus pay plans for any of your team members, technicians, service advisors, whatever. You've got to go back to basics, which is obviously what we can help you with, to get familiar with your financials first of all. If you start a pay plan bonus structure without that background knowledge, you are just going to run into big trouble. So just to summarize that part, you're basically looking at three things, three key metrics in order to be able to put this pay plan together. So productivity, efficiency, and effective labour rate. Why? Because our goal for any bonus scheme in an auto repair shop is to sell the maximum labour that we can, obviously along with our parts. But given that labour has such a big impact on our overall profitability and your technician's main job is to sell labour, then we need the focus around there. You can, of course, from time to time, add different little incentives just as one-offs if there's something with high margin that you want to drive through the shop. But as a benchmark, let's go with those three things. Then you've got to reverse engineer the result that you're after. So how much money are you going to make available on an annual basis for this scheme? Set that money aside and then decide how they can achieve the money. Can they achieve $100 for each of those three metrics, or do they need to achieve all three in order to get $300? And of course, your pool might be much bigger than this, and it might be $300 per metric per month. Or it may be smaller. It's totally up to you. Remember, we don't want to be giving out any bonuses if our team is not even achieving the basic requirements of their job. So if you've managed to get all of this way through the video and you realize, hey, my guys aren't even working their 38 hours that they get paid their wage for, then you need to go back to the start of the video and listen to my instruction about doing a feedback forum. Now, if you've discovered that you have one or more of your technicians or any of your team members that aren't necessarily motivated by money, it's quality time, quality lifestyle that motivates them, then rather than incentivizing with dollars, you may want to incentivize with time off. And if that's the case, I highly recommend that you look at a 4-day work week for your team to transition to. And once again, the proviso for that would be that everyone's hitting their metrics. So you still need to measure against those three things: the productivity, the efficiency, and the effective labour rate. But this time, if we're hitting our targets, then we have a rotating day off scheme throughout the week. And your people might work 4 10-hour days instead of 5 days. There's about 3 or 4 ways to do a 4-day work week. So if you've got any questions about that, then jump on a call with us. But it's really important that you do identify those differences between being driven by money and being driven by lifestyle, time with family, time off in general, because people are different. No one is more right than the other. But if you get it wrong and you put together this wonderful pay bonus structure, and then you guys, aren't any more motivated to hit it, well, then you've wasted your time and you're wasting your money. So there's how we remunerate our technicians. It's different from how we remunerate our service advisors. So, don't go putting your service advisors on those 3 key metrics. The ones for service advisors are completely different. I hope that that's cleared that up for you and given you some clear direction on how you would move forward with a pay plan structure for your techs. But just remember, don't go down the path of putting together this bonus scheme if your people aren't yet hitting their basic numbers with their charged out hours, their productivity, their efficiency, and make sure you know the difference between your team members who are motivated by money and your team members that are motivated by time off and quality lifestyle. Okay, I look forward to seeing you next week in our next YouTube training. As always, if you know that you need help, book in for a chat with us and we'll take it